Okay, so our topic today is Allied Sciences of Fingerprint and its dogmatic principles. Still, we are under the subject personal identification. And yours truly, the lecturer is Carlito Bernard G. Delizo. So we are going to discuss here what are the sciences that may have actually proven the reliability of the fingerprint as a means of identification. So first thing first, in the Bible, it says there that liars go to hell. Okay? Why? What is the connection? Somebody says that fingerprints cannot lie, but liars can make fingerprints. So our fingerprints will not lie because it will speak about the owner of that fingerprint. And say if a person will deny commission of the crime and yet his fingerprint is found at the crime scene, then he is definitely lying. And remember, my dear learners, that liars go to hell according to Revelations 21:8. And another thing that we need to understand is because the father of liars is Satan. So again, as we move on with the life that we have, particularly those who are trying to become or wanting to become law enforcers later on, then lying should not be in their vocabulary. Okay, so we will move on. So personal identification based on the comparison of fingerprints can be understood as dactyloscopy. So we compare fingerprints from the file of the person and from those taken at the crime scene. And then if there are corresponding reads characteristics between the file of the person as compared to those taken from the crime scene will more or less show positive identification. And to understand further, the word dactyl came from, or it is understood as a finger. On the other hand, the scopian is to examine. So, therefore, literally, we can say that dactyloscopy is the study or examination of fingerprint. But eventually, dactyloscopy is no longer a simple examination of fingers or fingerprint, but rather it evolves to the examination of fingerprints as a means of personal identification. So we have the word derma that is referring to the skin, and then the glyph that is referring to carb. Okay, and poros means pores or yung mga butas, and podo pertains to feet. Okay, so the English people, they could not say pudo, but they say foot actually. Okay, because the letter P becomes letter F. Okay, so on the other hand, you have chiromancy from the Greek chir or hands, and manteia that is divination. But actually, chiromancy is not a science. It is a divination, meaning ito yung panghula base doon sa mga ridges doon sa palad ng isang tao. So what else? Dactylography on the other hand. So we have the word graphe. Graphian means writings or recording. Okay, so dactylography can be understood also as the scientific study of fingerprints as a means of identification. So we have now a problem with the definition of dactyloscopy. It seems that they are one and the same. Okay, so however, what distinguish these two terminologies, dactyloscopy and dactylography? Dactylography more or less pertains to the recording of fingerprints. On the other hand, dactyloscopy is more on the comparison, okay, examination by comparing fingerprints as a means of identification. Okay, so graphie pertains to recording or writing. So dermatographics is the science of the study of skin patterns, especially palm and footprints. Now, dermatoglyphics in the medical science, they explain the ridges on our palm and prints as a way of understanding the health of the person when he was still inside the womb of the mother. Meaning, sa dermatoglyphics sa mga medical sciences, meron pinapag-aralan nila yung mga ridges doon na sinasabi nila kung ano yung mga fingerprint pattern ng bata ay maaring base ito kung ano yung kanyang naging health and medical condition nung siya'y pinagbubuntis pa lamang. Okay? So yun ang dermatoglyphics. Further, dermatoglyphics can also be used in understanding now the character of the person. Okay? So whatever is the reason, but originally, pag sinabing dermatoglyphics, pinag-aaralan yung tinatawag natin yung mga ridges sa paa at sa kamay para maintindihan kung ano ang naging health and medical condition ng bata doon sa loob ng sinapupunan. So, idioscopy, on the other hand, from the word edges, sa gilid. So, characteristics or the study of the characteristics of the ridge edge for comparison purposes. Okay? Doon sa gilid ng mga ridges ng fingerprint, okay, pinapag-aralan yan kung yan ay round or yan ay very sharp yung ridges or yung edges ng ridges. So, somehow, pwede itong magamit to separate one fingerprint from another. Particularly kapag hindi buo yung fingerprint, mga kunting mga ridges lang ang nako sa crime scene. So maaring yung tinatawag nating maaring yung edges ng ridges ang gagamitin nila for comparison purposes. Of course, pwede ring i-apply doon yung poroscopy. So the polydactylism word means there are, we call it additional fingers, no, or additional fingers appearing on we call it on the hand of a person. Kaya nga polydactyl, meaning sobra. May mga tao kasi anim yung kanilang mga fingers or pito. Kaya may lahing Spider-Man. The radiology, the study of poroscopy, idioscopy, and reads characteristics for the purpose of the positive identification of fingerprints. Okay? So, radiology. So, in your fingerprint, merong ridges at may mga poros. Doon sa ridges, maraming characteristics ito. So, meron siyang yung, I mentioned earlier, the ages of the ridges can also be used to characterize or to distinguish one fingerprint from another. Okay? So radiology is basically applied whenever the entire fingerprint is not recorded. Okay? And the ridge characteristics, these are now what you call the appearances of bifurcation, appearances of dot or appearances of trifurcation or ending reads. Okay, so those are the things that are included in the study of radiology. And of course, the pores or the study, the poroscopy or the study of the pores. No, sa ibabaw ng ridges, mayroong mga butas noon which we are going to discuss further as we move on. So titingnan din doon yung characteristics ng mga pores, yung sizes, the distances from one another, comparing it to the fingerprint of the suspect. Okay? And it could be sufficient, again, to establish positive identification. Again, when you say positive identification, okay, there is no doubt that the two fingerprints compared are coming from one and the same person. Okay, so that is the word positive identification. When you say negative identification, it means that the two fingerprints or the two items being compared are different from one another. So podoscopy, the study of footprints. So again, from the word podo or foot, okay, by the English people. So the footprints can also be used as a means of identifying a person. So just like the fingerprints or the palm prints that we have, the sole of our feet, it has also characteristics that can be used or that are distinguishable from one another, that it may lead also to the positive identification in cases footprints are found in the crime scene. So palmistry or chiromancy, as I mentioned a while ago, chiromancy, this is an art of characterization and foretelling the future, also known as palm reading or chirology. Okay, so ito yung binabasa, yung ating yung mga ridges, yung mga formation ng mga ridges, sa ating mga palad, and then they will say na you will become like this. So they will foretell. No? They are going to, we call it, try now to to tell you what will happen to you, na madali kang mamatay or ikaw ay magiging sikat, ikaw ay magiging successful, ikaw ay magiging ganito ang magiging buhay mo. So that is palmistry. Well, of course, that is not an absolute science. That is not a science actually. It's only an art. Okay? So that's why the word chiro, it's actually the palm of the hand. Kaya pag sabing chiropractic, yung mga nagmamassage, yung palad ang ginagamit. Okay? So the poroscopy is the study of the pores appearing on the top of the ridges of the fingerprint. So let's talk further about poroscopy. So the pores on the top of the ridges of the fingerprint, okay, uh, you can separate also the fingerprint of a person who is alive and a dead person. Kasi yung patay, sarado yung pores. Kasi yung pores na yan, nag-open yan, lumalabas dyan yung mga pawis and other oil or other liquid sa ating katawan na nanaprocess ng ating katawan. Kaya kapag yung tao ay tawag natin patay na yan, close yung kanyang pores. Kapag buhay naman yan, ay tinatawag nating open yung pores niya. So, now, the sizes of the pores ay pwedeng triangular, mayroong circular, mayroong malalaki at maliliit ang mga pores. Okay? So, ganun din yung distansya niya. So, ang pag-study ng pores ay, as I mentioned a while ago, applicable yan kapag tinatawag natin walang buong fingerprint na nakuha sa crime scene. Pero, identifiable yung mga ridges at yung mga pores noon. Okay? At pwede itong i-compare. Of course, ang diferensya lang yan sa poroscopy, kailangan mo ng mas maraming number of pores for comparison purposes to determine correspondence. When you say correspondence, ito ay magkatugma. So this poroscopy was discovered and developed by Edmond Locard in 1812. That's why he is called as the father of poroscopy. And he found that pores are also permanent, immutable, and individual. So sabi niya, permanent, hindi niyan magbabago. Okay? At yan ay individual, means yan ay distinguishable from one another. Okay? So with the poroscopy, as I mentioned a while ago, it is useful when available ridges do not provide sufficient ridge characteristics. Okay? So one of the, we call it the prominent cases handled by Edmond Locard was the case of Baudet and Simonin case. No? So ito, pagnanakaw ito. At doon sa ninakaw ng mga jewelry, magkaibigan kasi ito, but si Baudet is known as, we call it frequently convicted sa France, no? Sa mga pagnanakaw like that. Okay? So in one of the cases, may nakuha doon sa box ng mga jewelry na mga palm print. Okay? And it turned out na nung na-develop yun, using photography na enlarge ito, it turned out na dalawang tao. Okay? So since kakilala si Simonin na partner palagi ni Baudet, na-arresto silang parehas and then kinuha yung kanilang palm print and then dinevelop din, pinotograph, in-enlarge. So using hundreds of pores, take note, hundreds of pores, umabot pa ng 900, more than 900 pores ang pinagbasihan nila, and eventually they were identified as the same person who owns the palm print. Okay? So kasi very prominent yung appearances nung kanilang mga pores. So they discovered, or Locard discovered, we call it correspondence doon sa mga or pagkakaparehas ng mga pores na nakuha doon sa mga palm print doon sa jewelry box. Okay. So, under Locard's poroscopy, ang mga pores ay maaring magkakaiba sa kanyang size, as I've mentioned a while ago. Okay? So, mayroong oblong ang style, mayroong medyo triangular, mayroong mga circle. So, that can be distinguishable from one another. Then, you integrate that with the shape, no? Okay? May mga maliliit niyan, triangular. Okay? May mga malalaki na triangular or circular or oblong. And then the position on ridges, meaning ito ba ay nasa edge ng ridges or nasa ibabaw ng ridges. Okay? And the number and frequency. Okay? Say for example, sa isang in 1 inch na haba ng ridges, ilan yung nag-a-appear doon na pores. So bibilangin yun, meron bang 10 na pores or 15 na pores? So makikita niyan all throughout doon sa mga ridges na lumalabas sa palm and then sa fingerprint ng tao, ay makikita mayroong pagkakapareha sa iisang tao. Okay, so these are actually the premises or the premise of Locard's poroscopy. However, poroscopy is we call it just like any points of identification, meron ding tinatawag na drawbacks. Okay? One of the drawbacks is of course the lack of sufficient systematic data. In other words, wala pang recording ng mga tao tungkol sa kanilang mga uh, pores doon sa kanilang palm and fingerprint. Unlike sa fingerprint, all throughout the world ay meron ng systematic data, meaning meron ng mga records, karamihan, or if not all people. Ano? Okay, and another thing, sweat pores may not always appear in the latent or ink impressions. There are instances na hindi prominent yung mga pores, okay, yung mga butas, yung mga markings ng pores doon sa latent. When you say latent, ito yung mga semi-visible or invisible, something that is not seen right away. Kaya pag sinabing latent, medyo tago ito. So somehow, it is not always that sweat pores appear on those things. So these are the drawbacks of, we call it the poroscopy. So what are now the three dogmatic principles? So when you say dogmatic principles, they appear to be true, but actually it is true. Sometimes they call it as the absolute sciences or the absolute science of fingerprint or the three science of fingerprints. Okay, or the dogmatic science of fingerprint, meaning it is we call it the probability is we call it perfect, no? So first thing first is yung principle ng permanency. Sometimes they say constant or persistent, meaning the fingerprint of a person will no longer change. Once na nag-develop na yan, doon pa lang sa loob ng sinapupunan ay it will be the same pag pinanganak na yan hanggang mamatay, hanggang bago ito mag-decompose yung katawan ng tao, ay hindi magbabago yung fingerprint patterns and the ridges, okay, and the ridge characteristics of a person. And magkakaroon lamang ng tinatawag nating mga changes doon sa appearances ng ridges and the patterns of the fingerprint kung mayroong tinatawag nating mga permanent disability ng isang tao. And of course, the principle of individuality, yung pagkakaiba, uniqueness, or there is variation. And then finally, the principle of infallibility, meaning it is already proven that the fingerprint identification is a reliable, okay, mapagkakatiwalaan. So, we are going to understand bakit how the permanency or the principle of permanency is proven by science, as well as the principle of individuality as proven by social or by natural sciences. So with that, okay, it was found out and it was mentioned by Edward P. Richards that even identical twins have different fingerprints. Okay, so bakit magkaiba yung fingerprint ng identical twins? Magkasabay silang nabuo sa loob ng tiyan, okay? So magkamukha sila lahat, almost pag titignan mo sila ay halos hindi mo ma-identify or hindi mo ma-distinguish one from the other. So that's identical twins. Okay? So of course inside the fetus and the uterus, and so the fingertips are in contact with the other parts of the person. Okay? So because of that, while the ridges are forming, so mayroong mga pressures or may mga factors na nag-affect kaya nag-iba yung pagtubo ng mga ridges ng isang tinatawag natin ng isang bata na nandun sa loob ng sinapupunan. Okay? So, and their position in relation to uterus and the fetal body changes as the fetus moves on its own and in response to positional changes of the mother. Okay? So, sa pagbabago-bago ng position nila sa loob ng sinapupunan, somehow yung mga ridges ay nag-iba yung kanilang tinatawag natin pagtubo rin. Okay? So, it explains now that even identical twins have different finger tips or fingerprints. And again, the environment of the growing cells on the fingertip or influx or flow and is always slightly different from hand to hand and finger to finger. Okay? So, hindi magkakasabay yung pagtubo ng mga cells na nag-create dun sa ridges. At depende yan sa health ng bata, depende rin yan sa factors, sa mga stress doon sa loob ng tiyan. So magkakaiba ngayon ng pag-form ng fingerprint ng identical twins. Okay, so with that, it explains also the principle of uniqueness. That's why it is already acceptable that no two persons will have the same fingerprint or no two fingerprints will have the same or identical ridge characteristics unless, of course, they are taken from the same finger of the same hand of the same person. Okay, so what about the principle of permanency? Okay, so again, we have already started the discussion on the principle of individuality. So the skin is considered as the largest organ of the human body, and approximately 15 to 20% of our body weights and occupying almost 2 square meter of surface area. Kapag yan ay tinanggalat yung skin, ilalapag mo yan sa flooring, then maaring 18 square feet or 2 square meters ang mabubuo niyan. So kung ikaw ay 100 kilograms, more or less 15 to 20 kilograms ay pwedeng galing yan dun sa skin ng isang tao. Ganun ang kinokonsist ng ating skin sa kabuuan ng katawan ng tao. So further, it covers most of our body and it is relatively smooth except palmar side of the hands and in the plantar side of the feet. Meaning, kapag dito sa palm natin at doon sa may paanan natin, okay, or talampakan natin, medyo makapal yun, medyo rough dahil sa mga ridges. Okay? So you notice that these are on your side, on the right side of the image, the right side image, there are, we call it canals. Yung canals na yan, between the ridges are called furrows. Okay? And the ridges, on the other hand, are between the two canals. Okay? So, ito ngayon, yung natawag natin, nag-focus ng roughness doon sa ating sa ating talampakan at dito sa ating kamay. Okay? So, itong nasa paanan natin sa ating palm prints and sa fingerprints, ang tawag natin yan is volar skin or friction ridges or friction ridge skin ang tawag natin. Okay, so yung true skin na tinatawag natin or real skin, ito yung tunay na skin or balat, ito yung mga smooth parts ng katawan natin. Pero yung volar skin or friction ridge, kaya tinawag na friction kasi pag friction, meron siyang resistance. Okay? Na kapag wala kang friction ridges, pag humawak ka ng plastic or ng botilya na medyo smooth niyan, madudulas siya. Because of the ridges, yun nga nang mag-focus para kakapit yung kamay mo doon sa hinahawakan. Okay, so the principle of permanence is can be traced on the subsurface extraction or structure of friction skin. So, paano yan? Ang permanence ng fingerprint ay pwede mong matrace doon sa pinakaloob or sa pinakailalim ng skin. Okay? So, there are things that are happening beneath the surface of the skin na nag-focus ng permanency na kahit matuklap yung ibabaw or kahit masira yung ibabaw, may scratch yung ibabaw ng fingerprint natin o ridges natin, eventually ito ay mari-restore siya. So ang restoration niyan ay hindi nangyayari sa ibabaw kundi nagsisimula sa ilalim sa may dermis. On the other hand, to summarize, the principle of uniqueness, as I've mentioned already, is dependent on the factors that are going on or that are affecting the growth of a child or a baby or a fetus during the prenatal development of friction bridges. So the principle of permanence is that the adherence of the epidermal cells to each other. Okay, so when you say adherence, to yung pagkadikit niya. Okay, yung pagkadikit ng epidermal cells with one another. So sila ay natawag natin na hindi mo basta matanggal yung mga cells na yun kasi talagang they are permanently uh, adhering to one another or attached with one another. And down below, the epidermis, yung nasa ibabaw is the epidermis, sa loob ay dermis. Down below, mayroong tinatawag na basal cell layer. So the basal, that's the base, yung pinakalalim ng epidermis, nakadikit yan doon sa basement membrane zone. Okay? And the attachment of the basement membrane to the dermis. So with that, ganito yan. Ano? So dalawa yung tawag natin, yung general layer ng skin natin. Yung epidermis sa bandang ibabaw, which is made of, we call it made of 3 or 5 layers. And then you have the dermis, yung mas makapal sa ilalim. And down the dermis, meron kang tinatawag na hypodermis or yung subcutaneous na portion ng ating skin. But of course, ang pinaka-importante yan in the study of fingerprint is the understanding of the dermis and the epidermis. So take note that between the dermis and epidermis, merong dark portion diyan ito. Merong dark portion, okay, na yan yung pinaka-adhesive niya, parang pinaka-glue, okay, between the dermis and the epidermis. And between the epidermis and dermis, nandun yung tinatawag nating dermal papillae or papillae. Okay? So this is another anatomical appearance of the epidermis and dermis. So between the epidermis and dermis, nandun yung papillae or nandun yung dermal papillae. So that is now responsible for the ridge patterns on the surface of the skin. Meaning, kung ano yung appearance ng ridges doon sa ibabaw, ay matitrace mo kung anong appearance nung nandun sa ilalim. Yun ang nag-focus. Okay? So kaya pag tawag natin na yung sa epidermis area ang masusugatan or ma-injure sa yung fingerprint, basically, yan ay mari-restore, mari-regenerate yan. Okay? So kasi ang ating katawan, meron tayong regeneration capability yung ating katawan. So kung ano yung mga cells na nawala, pwede itong ma-restore. Okay? So just like when you are engaged in bodybuilding. So accordingly sa bodybuilding, and so while you are working out, mamamatay yung mga cells sa muscles natin. Okay? So it's not actually the bodybuilding yung magpapalaki ng katawan, but rather kapag natulog ang tao, magre-restore yung body cells. So pag nag-restore niyan, so yun, nagiging bulk yung muscle ng isang tao. So ganun ang katawan natin. So ganun din sa fingerprint natin. Merong kakayahan yung dermis natin na mag-reproduce. At kung ano yung formation ng dermis natin dun sa ating dermal papillae, yun din ang magiging appearance dun sa ibabaw. So that's why the principle of permanence is actually traceable in the subsurface of the fingertips or of the fingerprint. So these are now the layers of your epidermis. Down below, you have the stratum basale. So the word basale means base, pinaka mababa, base. When you say stratum, it's just a singular form of strata, which means layer. Ang ibig sabihin ng stratum singular. So may mga iba, strata ang nilalagay, that's the layer actually. So stratum is the layer, referring to the layer. Okay? So the base layer na tinatawag natin. So that is the epidermis. And then you have now the stratum spinosum, the stratum granulosum, the stratum lucidum, and the stratum corneum. And then down below, you have now the dermis area. So the stratum corneum, more or less, is 25 to 30 layers of stratified or layered squamous or fattened dead keratinocytes skin cells that are constantly shed. Okay? So yung kapag ikaw ay naglaba, yan, nababad ng tubig yan, at maya, nagtutuklap yung pinaka-ibabaw niyan, namamatay, nabababad sa tubig. Okay? So eventually, matatanggal mo ngayon. Or if you are constantly working, ah, at namamatay yung sa ibabaw, so eventually, ah, later on, we call it, pag na-restore sa ilalim, marirestore na sa ibabaw. The stratum lucidum, on the other hand, is present in thick skin. Okay? Like in the lipid or the dito sa mga tawag natin sa mga palm natin or fingertip, the sole of the feet, and the palms of the hands. Okay, with little or no cell detail is visible. Meaning, wala kang masyadong makitang cell doon or kung meron man, kukunti lang. And the stratum granulosum, on the other hand, is 3 to 4 layers of cell thick consisting of flattened keratinocytes. At this level, the cells are dying. Okay? So, dyan mag-start yung pagkamatay. Although dyan din nag-start yung pag-reproduce ng mga malalaking cells. Dyan din nag-start yung pagkamatay ng mga cells sa ibabaw ng ridges or skin natin. The stratum spinosum, this is made of several layers thick, consisting mostly of keratinocytes. The keratinocyte cells, again, ito yung, sabi ko nga, ito yung nagpo-produce ng cells. Nagpo-produce yan yung cells. Okay? Yung stratum or the keratinocytes. Okay? So keratinization is actually the process of producing cells. Okay? And then sa taas niyan, mag-start din mamatay yan kapag depende doon sa exposure ng skin natin. Sometimes it is known as the Malpighian layer because ito yung nagre-regenerate, the living layer na tinatawag natin. So the stratum basale, on the other hand, is a single layer of cells in contact with the basement membrane. Ito yung ngayon, yung between the stratum basale and the dermis ay merong basement membrane na tinatawag natin. Okay, so nandyan din yung, kumbaga, sa basement membrane, nandyan yung dermal papillae. Okay, so these cells are mitotically active. They are alive and reproducing. Okay, so ito yung pinaka-generating layer. Of course, mag-regenerate yan, akyat yan pataas, yung kanyang regeneration. So kapag namatay na dito sa bandang ibabaw ng skin natin, o ng ating ridges, eventually mag-start sa may stratum basale yung pag-regenerate. Okay, pag-regenerate ng mga namatay na cells sa ibabaw. Okay, at dito sa may stratum spinosum, okay, so diyan na yung starting ng natawag natin yung regeneration. Although ang pinaka main factor is yung stratum basale, yung regenerating layer na tinatawag natin. Again, as I've said, yung ating katawan ay meron siyang kumbaga meron siyang capability to regenerate. That's why kapag nasugat kayo sa may fingertips ninyo or sa palm print ninyo, kapag maliit lang yung sugat, mag-regenerate yan, wala siyang natawag nating wala siyang scar later on or peklat. Samantalang kapag sa mga smooth skin ninyo, sa may braso ninyo or sa may braso or whatsoever part of your body, kapag na-scratch yan, kahit maliit lang yan, mapapansin natin merong scar later on because natawag natin manipis kasi yung ating skin as compared doon sa ating volar skin. Okay, na makapal kaya kumbaga nare-regenerate kaya wala kang makikitang scar. Unless of course kapag yung sugat ay nakarating hanggang doon sa dermis area. Pag nakarating hanggang doon ay hindi na ma-regenerate kasi nasira yung stratum basale. Pag tinamaan yung stratum basale, yung nakadikit sa may dermis, then wala nang magre-regenerate na cells. So therefore, sa ibabaw nun ay meron kang makikita na scars later on or peklat doon sa may fingerprint. Okay, so the stratum corneum, okay, of course, we'll start from the stratum basale. Again, it produces cells to replace those being shed in the exposed superficial layer. The deepest layer parallel to the basement membrane. So pag sinabing parallel sa basement membrane niya or sa basement membrane zone, ibig sabihin parehas yung formation niya. Kung ano yung appearance ng basement membrane o ano yung appearance ng dermal papillae, ay yun din ang appearance ng tinatawag natin stratum basale. So the stratum spinosum or the spinous layer called the apical cells because of the many-sided cells that have spines protruding from their surface. And the stratum granulosum, it initiates the process of keratinization associated with the dying process of cells. Okay? So, initiate niya yung keratinization. Okay? Yung, kumbaga, pag-start na mamatay yung mga cells nang galing sa ilalim. So this is now the last of the living cells. So, sa ibabaw, yan ay mga dead cells na tinatawag natin. Consists of flat and translucent dead cells that contain protein called ellatin. Appears only in palms and soles. Wala dito sa ibang natin, sa ibang portion ng ating skin. Okay? So yan ang mga pag naglaba tayo, yan ay mga natutuklap na yan pag nabababad sa tubig yung ating mga kamay. And the stratum corneum or the horny layer, the outermost layer, flat, arranged in rows as dead cells, okay, and desmosomes undergo degradation. Now, even yung sinasabi natin na mga libag natin sa katawan natin, akala natin libag ang mga yon. Actually, mga dead cells ang mga yon. Okay? Yan. So, akala natin libag or of course, may mga libag, pero hindi lahat yun ay libag yon. Okay? Nagtutuklap yung ating skin, kala natin libag lahat, kala natin dumi lahat yun, pero dead cells actually yun. So further, this is now the appearance to understand. Ano? Okay, so tingnan natin yung appearance ni stratum basale. It is parallel to the basement membrane. Okay, so between the stratum basale and the dermis, you have that line there. Okay, yun yung pinaka-adhesive between the stratum basale and dermis, which is what we call the basement membrane zone. Okay, so the keratinocytes, 90% is responsible for waterproofing and toughening the skin sa ibabaw, no? Yung living keratinocytes, yung buhay pa, no? Kasi diyan mag-start na ring mamatay yan kapag depende sa exposure ng ibabaw ng skin natin. Okay? So hindi makakapasok na dun sa ilalim ng ating katawan yung tubig. Doon nag-start yung pagtigas ng ating balat dito sa ibabaw ng ating palm and sa ating talampakan. So the melanocytes, more or less 8% doon sa epidermis, it synthesizes the pigment melanin which absorbs and disperses ultraviolet radiation. Okay, kung sa skin natin dito sa mga braso natin, yan ngayon yung kumbaga nag-focus ng coloring. Okay? Kapag tinatamaan niya ng ultraviolet light coming from the sun, yun na nag-focus noon. So depende ngayon yun. Kapag very strong yung area na yon ng yung skin, kapag nabibilad ka, hindi ka masyadong nangingitim. Okay? So pero yun yung portion na nag-absorb ng tawag natin ng ultraviolet radiation coming from the sun. Of course, ang importante doon sa ating fingerprint na pag-usapan ay yung area ng dermis at saka yung stratum basale, okay, and the basement membrane. Okay. So further, the tactile cell, they are very sparse and functioning in touch reception. So ibig sabihin yan kapag yan yung portion ng skin natin na kapag kinalabit ka, mararamdaman mo na kinakalabit ka. Okay? Nakikiliti ka. Okay? So yun yung function noon, yung sa bandang ilalim pa yun. Okay? So the non-pigmented granular dendrocytes, these are cells that ingest bacteria and foreign debris. Okay? So yun, dito yun ang kumbaga bahay ng mga bakterya sa ibabaw ng ating mga skin. Okay? Particularly dito sa ating mga smooth skin natin. So the basement membrane separates the epidermis and the dermis. Okay, so we call that the basement membrane zone. So they serve now as a filter of all the nutrients, oxygen, waste, and chemical signals to and fro or from the epidermis. So yun ngayon yung kumbaga nagpi-filter para hindi lahat makapasok na sa loob ng katawan natin. Okay? On the other hand, the basal layer, as we have already mentioned, is strongly attached to the basement membrane zone or the BMZ. So that is membrane through a hemidosmosome and small fibers. So the red line, that is now the basement membrane or the basement membrane zone. So yun yung pinaka-adhesive na, pinaka-glue or kumbaga pinaka-epoxy. Ayan, okay? So since yung appearance ng dermal papillae doon sa dermis natin ay mayroong mga parang mga hills, no? May mga ridges sa loob. So yun ngayon ang i-carry ng ibabaw ng fingerprint natin. So kaya sabi nga nila, as long as the dermis is not we call it injured, sabi nila, pero actually hindi. Kahit hindi makarating sa dermis yung sugat, basta tinamaan yung na-injure yung stratum basale, okay? So wala nang magre-regenerate sa ibabaw. Of course, the understanding is hanggang doon sa dermis ang masugatan. Pero in reality, going deeper doon sa subsurface ng skin natin, hindi yung dermis actually ang nagre-regenerate. It is the stratum basale. Kaya kapag nasugatan yung stratum basale, namatay yung cells doon, wala nang magre-regenerate. So mag-appear na ngayon ng mga changes or permanent scars doon sa ibabaw ng fingerprint. Okay, so yan yung basement membrane natin. So it is closely attached to the basement membrane zone through extensive network of fibers. It divides now into papillary and the reticular layers. And papillary layer or the dermal papillae area is increased by the dermal papillae. And the dermal papillae strengthen now the epidermis or the dermis junction, yung pagkakadikit niya. So yun ang mag-strengthen nun. Okay? So with that, it appears now on the fingerprint, the frictional ridges, as we have mentioned a while ago. Sometimes they call that the papillary ridges. Kasi nga, kaya tinatawag na papillary ridges kasi nag-start doon sa ilalim between the dermis and the epidermis, or particularly between the stratum basale and the dermis. So frictional ridges because ito yung nagbibigay ng tinatawag nating counter force upang we can grab, okay, or we can grab something hindi madudulas sa ating kamay. So yung yung mga naka-usli sa inyong fingertips, then that is called your ridges. At yung between the ridges, you call that the forus or the valleys. Okay, so it's just like your corrugated GI sheet, no? Yan, yung ibabaw yun ang ridges. Of course, the word ridge is literally meaning yung ibabaw ng mahabang bundok. Kaya ang tawag nila Sierra Mountain Ridges kasi mahabang bundok. Pag mahabang bundok na ganyan, yung ibabaw nun, ang tawag doon ay ridge. Okay? So, now, on the fingerprint, may mga creases na lumalabas. Itong mga creases naman na tinatawag natin, yun ang mga pwedeng magbago, but not the appearances of the furrows and the ridges. Okay, so now, down below, doon sa ating skin ay may mga sweat glands natin. Yung sweat glands natin na yon, nilalabas nila yung mga iba't ibang oily products and liquid products na napoprocess ng ating katawan. So lumalabas sila doon sa pores natin. Ito namang mga sweat na ito naman yung responsible doon sa mga naiiwang fingerprint doon sa crime scene, the latent print na tinatawag natin. Okay? So these are the sweat glands down in the subsurface of the skin, the Ekring glands. They excrete or secrete largely water with both inorganic and organic compounds, and they are the most important for fingerprints identification. The apocrine glands, these secrete pheromones and other organic materials, yung mga tinatawag natin mga pinifilter ng ating katawan or pinaprocess ng ating katawan. The sebaceous glands, they secrete fatty or greasy substances. Mostly yung sebaceous glands, makikita natin yan doon sa mga ilalim ng mga ugat ng ating mga buhok. Kaya you notice that yung mga buhok ninyo, kapag kayo pinawisan, later on parang very oily because of the sebaceous glands na tinatawag natin. So this is now the skin anatomy dito sa mga smooth surfaces natin. So you have the sweat glands, okay? So you have the sebaceous, normally dun sa mga may mga ugat ng kumbaga tinatawag natin mga buhok. At wala yan sa ating finger print actually. Kasi wala namang buhok yung palad mo. Unless merong buhok yung palad mo, meron yan. Okay, so the eccrine glands. So it is actually nag-emanate yan mula dun sa baba, sa dermis hanggang pataas. At yung tinatawag natin yung pinaka, uh, how do you call that, the veins, dun sa ilalim, you call that the duct system. Okay? Duct, D-U-C-T, duct. No? Daanan ng mga pawis. Okay, so on the other hand, the apocrine gland and the sebaceous gland, okay, yung sebaceous gland natin ay kumbaga nandoon nakadikit sa may mga malapit sa mga ugat or the roots of the hairs. On the other hand, the apocrine glands, yan ay kumbaga doon din sa lumalabas din yon doon sa pinaka uh, doon kung saan tumutubo yung mga buhok. Okay? So, yan yung mga nag-focus ng natawag natin mga fatty and liquid products na lumalabas sa mga skin natin. So, wala yan dito sa ating, kumbaga, wala yan sa ating fingerprint. Ang meron dyan is yung eccrine glands. So, what about the principle of infallibility? Okay, so before we will move on, the principle of infallibility, okay, so again, the fingerprints are permanent because of the what is going on inside or underneath the skin or the epidermis of a person. On the other hand, as we mentioned a while ago, uniqueness of the fingerprint is basically attributable to what is happening during the we call it during the prenatal development of a fetus. Okay, roughly 3 to 4 months of the fetus ay nag-start yung development ng mga ridges. And then it is infallible, meaning it is incapable of error, meaning hindi nagkakamali ang fingerprint, okay, because of it is permanent, it is immutable. And because it is unique, meaning walang katulad. And to add that, it is infallible or it is reliable because it is already utilized by almost, if not all, law enforcement agencies in the world. So, marami nang gumagamit. So, reliable na siya. And now, it is infallible because the admissibility of evidence is already beyond, or the admissibility of fingerprint as evidence is already beyond the question of law. Okay? So napatunayan na ng science na ito ay permanent, ito ay unique. So it is already admissible in the court. Ganun yun. Just like in lie detection or polygraphy, it is not, or the admissibility of polygraphic examination is still in question in the court because hindi siya permanent, or meaning may mga variations doon sa responses ng mga tao, hindi pare-parehas. So because of that, until now, the polygraph examination is inadmissible as evidence, but unlike in fingerprint, it was already proven. Its permanent and unique features. Okay, so ina-accept na yan. Kapag ganun ang korte natin, kapag sa natural science, pag sinabing natural science, sa biology, sa what else? Natural science natin, no? Sa odontology, okay? So, sa chemistry, these are natural sciences. Kapag yan, ang mga natural sciences kasi, these are absolute ang mga yan, okay? Absolute mga yan. So, therefore, kapag absolute yung science, tatanggapin yan ng korte. And so, these are the reasons why the fingerprint identification is already, we call it infallible, or it has that principle of infallibility. Okay, again, it is because the fingerprint is permanent, the fingerprint is unique, and it is utilized already by most, if not all, law enforcement agents in the world, and we call it, it is already admitted, or the admissibility is already beyond the question. Now, uh, there are some people, no, who tried to erase or uh, efface their fingerprint. Okay? So maraming mga experiment. So maraming experiment na ginawa niyan. So they found out na mare-restore niyan. Unless, of course, hindi masugatan yung stratum basale or hindi masugatan yung dermis sa loob ng finger ng skin natin. Okay, so there is one notorious gangster in America by the name of John Dillinger. He attempted to alter his fingerprint but was unsuccessful. Okay? So gumamit siya ng acid to burn the fingerprint. Okay? And when he died, he was properly identified by his fingerprints. Although, sinira niya yung kanyang fingerprint, nare-restore. Kasi nga, hindi tinatamaan yung stratum basale na nakadikit sa dermal papillae, na yung dermal papillae, yun naman ay nakadikit din sa dermis. So there are also cases, prominent cases in America and in the world about the more or less possibility na nagkamali yung fingerprint. Okay? However, after examination, so we have the case of Brandon Mayfield, a lawyer, an American lawyer. He was arrested uh, in uh, in Paris, no? Assumingly, the suspect in that, we call it infamous bombing, the train bombing in Paris. Okay, so the first investigators, they say that the fingerprint taken from the crime scene, it was a 100% positive, meaning identical dun daw sa nakuha. Okay, so however, after another man was confirmed as a match, the FBI acknowledged their error, meaning hindi yung fingerprint ang nagkamali. Okay? Merong isang tao na nahuli at mas tinatawag nating match yung kanyang fingerprint dun sa nakuha sa crime scene. So, therefore, sabi ng FBI, kami ang nagkamali, hindi yung fingerprint ang nagkamali. Okay? So, what else? The case of Stefan Cowans, who was convicted of attempted murder by shooting a police officer because of the testimony of two witnesses, including the victim and a fingerprint found on a glass of water. So, nakita raw siya na siya yung bumaril sa isang police officer, so nakulong ito, na-convict siya. Okay? However, nung nakaipon siya ng pera sa loob ng kulungan, because in other countries, they have the chance of earning also money, no, inside. So, eventually, nag-avail siya ngayon ng DNA testing. Yung, yung saliva doon sa glass of water na na-preserve ng korte, yun ay tinatawag natin na nag-request siya ng DNA testing. Okay? So, with that DNA testing, lumalabas na tawag natin hindi yung tinatawag na fingerprint ay hindi sa kanya. Okay? Yung DNA ay nagpapatunay doon sa saliva na nakuha sa glass of water na yon, yun ang nagpapatunay na hindi sa kanya yung fingerprint. Okay? So again, it was not the fingerprint ang mali, but rather yung mga nag-examine. So his saliva taken from a glass was later DNA tested, which eventually exonerated Stefan Cowans. So what else? Rene Ramon Sanchez was mistaken to be Leo Rosario because he affixed his fingerprints on the latter's card while both were being processed by the police. So ano yun? Loko-loko itong si Rene Ramon Sanchez. Ang ginawa niya, when they were booked, when they were arrested, they were booked in the police station, siguro nakalingat yung mga police, ang ginawa niya, nilagay niya yung kanyang fingerprint doon sa fingerprint card ni Leo Rosario. Okay? So, nagulat sila, bakit ganun? Magkaparehas ang fingerprint ni Leo Rosario at saka ni Rene Ramon Sanchez. Yung pala, nilagay ni Rene Ramon Sanchez. Okay? So again, that is not the problem on fingerprint, but rather the problem on yung recording. So we have another prominent case. We have Shirley McKay, was a police detective in 1997. when she was accused of leaving her thumbprint inside a house in Scotland where Marion Ross had been murdered. She denied being in the house but later arrested. And two American experts testified for her and she was acquitted. Again, the problem here is not the fingerprint that was taken from the house, but rather the examination conducted. Okay? Kaya nagkaroon ng, kumbaga, reversal sa kanyang kaso. Tulad din ng reversal sa kaso ni, uh, we call it ni uh, Stefan Cowan. Okay? Then, of course, with that, thank you very much. And do not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Okay? So, again, God bless us always.